This is a free sample of the book, Never Ghosted Again, The Art of Being Irresistible, by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/ghosted. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/ghosted.
Chapter 4. Popping the Red Pill. Warning. This chapter contains spoilers for the movies The Matrix and Eyes Wide Shut, and for Season 1 of the TV show Westworld. Go watch all three of those before reading. You won't regret it. Today's world is far from the all lovey-dovey environment of harmony between men and women like we imagined it was 40 to 50 years ago, in the age of June Cleaver, Carol Brady, and even Morticia Adams. Wouldn't every man want a woman as passionately loving as her? Today, the conflict between man and woman has become so highlighted and magnified that it's given rise to a new school of thought referred to as the Red Pill. The name refers to the scene in The Matrix when Morpheus offers Neo a choice between the blue pill, allowing him to stay blind to reality, and the red pill, allowing him to see the ugly truth. But the theme of the red pill is explicitly detailed in a movie that came out, ironically, the exact same year, Eyes Wide Shut. If you haven't seen this one, go watch it immediately, lest the best scenes not be spoiled for you. The central story conflict of the movie really kicks off in a bedroom scene when Dr. Bill Hartford, played by Tom Cruise, and his wife Alice, played by Nicole Kidman, are getting high and about to do some dirty deeds. But it can be argued that the central conflict is hinted at while also being spelled out by the first lines each of these two characters utter in the movie. At the open, they are getting ready for a party, and Dr. Hartford's first line in the movie is, "Have you seen my wallet?" solidifying him as the provider and breadwinner in the relationship. Alice's first line as she adjusts her dress is, "How do I look?" solidifying her role in the relationship as eye candy and an arm piece for him. This theme is continued throughout the first few scenes of the movie. At the party, Dr. Hartford is called away to do a doctor's work, while Alice is lusted at and looked upon by other guests. This scene is followed by a montage of Dr. Hartford at work in his office, while Alice is at home getting dressed and dolled up. He is the provider, and she is the precious prize for which he works so hard to provide. Back to the bedroom scene. A mild misunderstanding between the two of them leads to a full-blown argument about jealousy in the relationship. Dr. Hartford admits he's never been jealous once in his marriage with Alice and tries to make this admission in a complimentary manner. Her response is frightening. When he says he believes in her fidelity because of the quality of her character he believes she has, she bursts out laughing at him in a manner that denotes mockery, after which she drops a truth bomb on him that sets him off to seek out an extramarital affair throughout the rest of the movie. She tells him that at the time in their marriage, a vacation in Cape Cod, when she loved him the most and felt the greatest personal affection for him, she saw another man, a naval officer, that she would have had an affair with the same day, regardless of the consequences. They had established a great life together and were raising a young daughter, and Alice confesses that she would be willing to throw it all away for one night with this officer. Even when they made love on their anniversary, she was thinking about the officer. Imagine being Dr. Hartford in that room. The time they spent in Cape Cod, the moment he thought his assumption of true love was confirmed. His wife was thinking about another man, and adding insult to injury, fantasizing about sleeping with that man. How can he help but question everything about this marriage looking back on it and going forward? The peace of mind that monogamy was meant to inspire is now gone from him forever. There has been much debate about this scene from viewers. Some see it as a work of great fiction writing. Others say that it made its way into the story because it really happened and continues to happen in today's world. That is the message of the Red Pill. That this type of interaction, or just this psychology of desire, is very common among women. While no one can read minds to confirm this, behaviors can be observed. The Reddit group on the Red Pill tells stories that are of a similar cold tone, such as, a friend had to deal with his wife. He'd work overtime to pick up the slack while she went to grad school. Then she'd do the same when he went back. Well, she graduated, got a massive promotion, and told everyone he was a mooch and had divorce papers served. Another friend had an open relationship. It started with them doing swaps with vetted couples. Occasionally the wife pushed and pushed until her life resembled a Roman orgy. She eventually had a baby with a 20-year-old criminal. She started going out to bars again 2 weeks after giving birth. Another friend was a junior exec at some fast food chain. He'd tell women at parties that he worked at McDonald's, and they'd suddenly get cold and make shitty comments. Then someone would clarify things, that he was an executive at McDonald's, and they'd shamelessly run back over to apologize and try to flirt. One guy married his high school sweetheart, but she got pregnant as a result of having an extramarital affair with her boss, who got a shark of a lawyer for her. Her husband killed himself after being court-raped and not seeing his daughter for months. The onlookers of this tragedy go on Facebook and post about how selfish it was for he to take his own life, how the daughter will be traumatized. The guy is dead, and it's still all about her. But perhaps the most egregious is the one that follows. Sean was invited to a group get-together one weekend at a friend's place. He arrived late and said his hellos, then said to Sarah, "Where's Robert at?" Sean and Robert were best friends, but he hadn't seen much of him lately when Sarah started dating Robert. And just last night he attempted to call Robert but got no answer. It was bizarre to see Sarah without Robert because these two were always joined at the hip. The group starts to laugh and says, "Yeah, Sarah, tell him where Robert is." Sean looked confused at Sarah as she put her face in her hands, half laughing, half giving a face, sick with guilt. Then a mutual friend said, "Sarah is going to hell, basically. Tell him why Robert isn't here." She continued to half laugh, half cry, feeling guilty, yet at the same time letting out periodic laughs. "I dumped him," Sarah said. Sean said, "Oh, what happened?" The group laughed again. Sarah said, "I'm basically going to hell." Sarah and Robert had been in a long-term relationship for 2 years, and they never really talked about Robert's diseased mother, who passed away when he was 12. Robert was now 28. As they were driving the other day, his mother was brought up in conversation. As Robert talked about his mother, he became emotional and eventually started to cry as he talked to Sarah about how much he still misses her every single day. In Sarah's words as she laughed, "I know I'm a terrible person. I know I'm probably going to hell, but I just can't get past how unattractive and cringeworthy it was, and I can't look at him the same way now." These stories are far too horrific for one to make up. What would be accomplished by such a fabrication? If these stories were created to legitimize a hate for women, would the truthfulness of such stories be all that's needed to inspire that original hatred? Arguing how true they are is pointless. This book was written to show you how to win the love of a woman with the assumption that they are loving creatures. So what point does it serve showing them lacking the ability to love? The reason to bring them up here is to teach you a very important lesson, much like Morpheus does in The Matrix with Neo when they are in the agent training program and just past the woman in the red dress. She was the most stunning woman Neo had ever seen one moment, then turned into his deadliest foe, Agent Smith, the next. Can all women do such a thing? Be a loving angel one minute, and then a terrifying monster that no fury in hell can match? The author does not know, but is pointing this out for another reason. What turned the woman in red into Agent Smith was Neo showing weakness. He was supposed to be listening to Morpheus like a diligent student, but became distracted. In the same way, if you show weakness to your woman, a side of you she doesn't want to see, you will see a side of her you don't want to see. Never let her know when you are in pain. Deep down, we all want to be vulnerable with the special someone we're close to. What we're hoping to achieve is justification of our feelings, perhaps. When you express that to someone, what saddens you so much, the hope is that they will respond with the deepest sympathy, and that lets us know that we're not out of line for feeling such intense emotions. We get a recognition of our basic humanity. Your woman cannot be this person. Express these intense emotions to family and friends, but never to her. It would seem that the romantic relationship is the place for such expressions and revelations, but not when you're the man in said relationship. The expectation is that the man in the relationship is the rock. Evolution dictates that she's attracted to behaviors, and chief among them is strength. Showing weakness and vulnerability is the opposite of this. This does not mean do not feel emotions ever and become a cold, apathetic robot. Feeling emotions is natural and we can't stop it. But how and who we express them to is entirely a choice. Choose someone else for this. If you must pay a therapist or a shrink for such a service, it will serve you better than using her for this. Another example of red pill awareness comes from the TV show Westworld. In the first season, spoiler alert again, the audience learns that William and the man in black are the same person. But before knowing this, William appears to be just a good old boy and seemingly makes a genuine deep connection with Dolores, the beautiful female android of the theme park. He falls so hard for her that he even forgets his engagement back in the real world. He and Dolores go through so much together, narrowly escaping death many times. But when he sees her again after all the commotion is over, and how she interacts with another male guest in the park, like he never even existed, he is heartbroken. Dolores, being an android, is only going back to doing what she is programmed to do. But William makes this realization that people in the real world do this as well. Thus, in the park, he becomes the man in black that gets his way all the time. Also, in the real world, he becomes a successful businessman that can have things his way as well. In your world, you may have felt there was a connection between you and a woman, a genuine one at that. Then you may have experienced after the breakup or after ghosting you, she can proceed throughout life effortlessly like you never even existed while you struggle to move on and go about your day. This is the philosophy of the red pill, that women can get away with things men could never get away with by virtue of being female. They can flake, ghost, explicitly hit on the opposite sex, viciously reject the opposite sex, cheat, or even ruin their partner's lives, but still be viewed favorably by society just because they're female. You divorced him, got half his fortune, consistent alimony, and ran off with the hot guy you had an affair with? You go, girl. A central belief to it is that it is female nature to be manipulative, seek attention, make drastic mood swings, lack consistency, and pursue hypergamy, which is marrying up. Accept this truth and adapt to it, so then you can game women for what they are because they are no longer blinded to what you want them to be. That is the message of the red pill. We can argue all day on whether any of this is true. The reason for including the red pill in this book is not to endorse it, but to say, be aware of it. Both genders have their grievances and could spend the rest of their lives airing them. The truth is that your perception of the situation, whether it be oppression or superiority, the other gender has their own perception of it with the same intensity. With that, here's one fact that will make you a better person all around. Your sense of superiority is never unique to you. Everyone else feels superior to everyone else, so it never justifies the assumption of superiority. Furthermore, you say to yourself right now, I don't care who started it, because it ends with me. It doesn't matter who has it worse, men or women, or who is worse. It ends with you. That's because the greatest struggle you will ever face is not society at large, but yourself. The greatest obstacle you will ever have to overcome is your own emotions, fears, doubts, anger, and the deeply rooted belief that you're not worthy. And to overcome this obstacle, the first step is to take ownership of it and keep it to yourself. That applies especially to your inner pain. Never let a woman know you're in pain. If you should question the usefulness of this advice, hear this. Keeping your pain a secret from her will make her more attracted to you. When all she sees from you is strength, ignorant to the pain inside your heart and mind, she will wonder, where did this strength come from? And she will wonder if you have any emotional pain at all. Doing so will get her thinking about you more often, and this is a good thing. Women fall in love with you in their head before they fall in love with you for real. So the more she wonders about you, or rather, the more you stimulate her sense of wonder, the more she will fall in love with you. Do not tell her about past hurts. If you must, then do not express them in a way that indicates any lingering pain remaining. Do not speak badly about your exes if she asks about them, especially the ones that hurt you the most. Simply say, "We wanted different things in life and chose different paths." Say nothing about shame, guilt, self-consciousness, or any negative emotions that may currently bind you. Conversations about these deep, negative emotions are ones she's used to having with her girlfriends. You do not want her to see you in the same light as a girlfriend. Behavior is what attracts her, and your behavior must demonstrate masculinity and strength. Some say this is just female nature, but really, it is human nature to avoid the deficient, be repelled from the weak, and to fear missing out on better. This is not something that women consciously do. It is not in their agency to intentionally hurt you. It's just human nature that dictates them to do these things. If you want to know how hard it is to go against nature, try breaking an addiction cold turkey. Continuing on about how weakness in males turns them off, turn now your attention to where it is on great display: online dating.
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book, Never Ghosted Again, The Art of Being Irresistible, by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/ghosted. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/ghosted.